Okay, my beautiful friends, I'm going to talk about something that I think is really missing often when we have conversations around how do I make more money? How do I grow my business? How can I get more clients? All of those things, which are awesome and how beautiful to ask yourself those questions. But if we look at it primarily from this strategic lens, we're missing out on a deeper layer of something that has to happen for you to be able to actually get those results on a consistent basis. Meaning, you don't just have a one-time better result, but you just consistently generate more money. And that deeper thing is understanding that if you want to have entirely different results from the results that you have right now in your life on all levels, this doesn't just apply to your business, this applies to your relationship, to your health, to how your body looks, all of those things. You have to change at the level of your identity. You have to become the person for whom those results that you desire are entirely normal. And if you don't do that, what's going to happen is, for example, what happens to a lot of lottery winners. You can look this up. I don't know the exact percentage, but a lot of people who win the lottery end up at the same place that they were a year before they won in the lottery, or even worse, after a specific amount of time, say a year after they won. And those lottery wins can be huge. But if at an identity level, you don't shift who you are being, and what is normal for you, you're going to revert back to what you're used to. And I know this can sound kind of abstract, and there are energetic layers to this, but this is also really practical. So if you want to do this exercise with me right now, you can think about what kind of income would you love to have consistently? Like, what would be like, wow, that would be awesome. And whatever that is, that's 5,000 euros per month or 10,000 or 50,000. Just connect to that. Let it light you up. And then think about what are the things that you're currently doing in your life that are not a match if you are someone who becomes that person that generates whatever is the amount that came up for you. What are the kind of thoughts that you are thinking on a consistent basis that are not a match for someone who, for example, generates 10,000 euros per month or more? What are the behaviors? And those are practical things like, oh, I feel stressed in the supermarket when I have to choose between the blueberries that are organic that I want to buy, but they're €1.50 more expensive than the non-organic ones. I feel stressed when I have to get a taxi to the airport because that's just by far the most convenient thing, but it costs 30 euros. Someone who generates 10,000 euros or more will probably not have stress around these things. And if you can identify those very specific things that you're doing on a consistent basis, and maybe it's even the people you hang out with, or it's the places that you spend a lot of time in, or it's the decisions you make. Like, what are the opportunities you're saying no to because you don't know how you will be able to afford that? And I'm not saying you have to change all of those things in an instant. This is another pattern we can fall into, and I created a video about this, I think last week, where this is where the ego can come in and be like, fuck, I need to change my whole life because I've done everything wrong. And this, like, going this extreme response is not what I'm talking about. But being really honest with yourself of, you have created the results that are right now in your life, the good ones and the not so good ones. And can you look at those things with clarity and love without judging or shaming, but just being clear of like, okay, the way I've been operating up until now is what got me the results of where I'm at right now. Now, what needs to change for me to get to the next level? And I can share a couple of examples from me from the last weeks of things that were like, holy shit, yeah, I really cannot do this any longer. if and this is what I'm connecting to right now, is being the frequency of a high six-figure business. I cannot distract myself with spending useless time on social media. It just doesn't feel like a match. Someone who generates high six figures on a consistent basis has the clarity and the energy and the capacity to not do that. I also really enjoy playing chess online, and maybe it'll come back at some point, but I was like, it's not a match right now, because also I was in a time of like a lot of focus with the summit, and yeah, I just felt clear that my energy needs to go to this. Now, another place where this has showed up to me in the past is when I was facing situations where, for example, my finances were tight. Someone who holds the frequency of, in my example, a high six-figure business does not just go into stress and blind worry. They stay clear, on track, and able to respond to the situation and to actually do things, but to not waste time just worrying about something in the future. It's not energy well spent. So just to give you some examples from my own life, it might look very different for you. Maybe it's relational patterns of, maybe you fall into patterns of people pleasing or you spend time with people where you're like, I actually don't want to spend time with these people anymore. Or you're living in a place that is not a match for what it is that you want to create. So if we don't look at those things, even if more money starts coming in, it will not be sustainable, because your system will revert back to what you're being at an identity level. And yes, of course, there are weird exceptions to this, of like billionaires who are super greedy and, you know, who don't spend money on coffee because they think it's too expensive. Of course that exists. But generally, people who have a lot of money are generous. They're going to come from a place of abundance. At least people who are operating in the new paradigm, in a paradigm where being wealthy is a win-win, is not at the expense of other people, but is actually something that can help me be of greatest service to the world. And I'm not saying that that's the only work that we need to be doing. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you need strategic implementation in your business, and maybe adding some new systems to your business. I don't know, like maybe using ads for new people to come into your world. I've done all of those things, so I'm not against those. But if we don't work on the identity level at the same time, it's not going to actually stabilize in your life. And that's why a lot of the work that I do with entrepreneurs is the consciousness work, is the inner work, where I become ready and available for more money to come my way. I become someone for whom it's completely normal for their income to double every year, whatever it is. Like, this work is necessary. And that's why in the Embodied Business Leadership Program, which is the year-long program that I have, that I guide entrepreneurs through, that is one big focus. We have the Wealthy Leader, which is a lot about your relationship to money, visibility, success. We have Highest Vision, which is about how you can connect to the greatest vision you have for your life and then operate from the place where it is already true right now, which it is on an energetic level. And then yes, we also have strategic components, like the whole fourth module, the Business Architect, which we'll go into towards the end of this year, is very strategic. But it has to be combined with the identity work. Otherwise, your success will not be sustainable. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Embodied Business Leadership Program is 10% reduced until this Sunday. I'm talking to a couple of people right now who are interested in joining. There are 3 different tiers that you can join. The core tier, where you get to join the 4 group programs of Embodied Business Leadership. Those are 8-week group programs that individually cost over €1,000. And if you join All four, it's 2,000 euros, and now with those 10% off, it's 1,800 euros. And then there are higher tiers, like the group version, where you get also weekly Q&A calls with me and a bunch of amazing entrepreneurs, which adds another layer of community, which is something that a lot of my clients really appreciate, is being on the path with like-minded and like-hearted entrepreneurs, and yeah, just not being alone on this journey. And then there's the VIP version, which includes one-on-one calls with me and also direct access to me. So this is like for the ones who want the most amount of access. Then VIP's for you. VIP is 12,000 euros for a full year with a 10% off. It's 10,800, and the group tier is 6,000. With the 10% off, it's 5,400. So if any of those speak to you, until Sunday, you have the opportunity to jump in at a lower price. I'm happy to have a conversation with you if you have any questions about this, or if you want to have help figure out which one is the right option for you. And with that being said, have a beautiful rest of the day. Do give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Sending you so much love, and talk soon.